In the middle of a forgotten highway, far from the nearest town, there stood a hotel people rarely spoke about. Its faded neon sign still flickered, buzzing faintly in the dark like an insect trapped in glass. Drivers passing by on stormy nights claimed they could see a figure standing in the upstairs window, though the hotel had been abandoned for more than 40 years. The story begins with Daniel, a travel photographer who had been on the road for weeks. He loved chasing abandoned places, capturing the beauty of decay, but that night, as the rain poured relentlessly, his car engine began to sputter. Desperate for shelter, his headlights caught the outline of the broken hotel sign, Rosewood Inn. The doors creaked when he pushed them open. The lobby smelled of wet wood and mold, but to his surprise, a bell sat neatly on the counter. He rang it, half joking, half hoping. To his horror, footsteps echoed from the hallway. Nobody should have been there. Yet a man appeared, dressed in a crisp but faded uniform, his face pale and stiff like wax. His smile never moved as he spoke. "Welcome, sir. We've been expecting you." Daniel froze. His voice cracked as he asked, "Expecting me? My car broke down." The man simply slid a key across the counter. The tag read, Room 6. His hands trembled, but the storm outside gave him no choice. He climbed the stairs, each step moaning as though the hotel itself was alive. When he entered Room 6, the lights flickered on by themselves. The bed was made perfectly, but there was something wrong with the mirror on the wall. His reflection blinked slower than he did. He turned off the lamp. The reflection kept staring. Daniel couldn't sleep. At midnight, he heard voices in the hallway, whispers, overlapping, urgent. He pressed his ear against the door. It wasn't English, or any language he knew. Then soft knocks echoed through the hall. First one, then another. Room by room, closer and closer. Finally, his door. He yanked it open. Nobody was there. But on the floor, someone had left a folded note. In red ink, it read, "Do not look in the mirror after 3 a.m. He stared at the mirror, dread tightening his chest. The storm raged outside, but inside the hotel, there was silence. Time crawled until his watch clicked 3:01 a.m. Against every instinct, he looked. His reflection wasn't alone. Behind him stood the man from the lobby, but his grin had split wider, stretching unnaturally across his face. Daniel spun around. The room was empty. The reflection wasn't lying. The door slammed shut. For the next hour, Daniel lived through a nightmare he could never explain. The whispers grew louder. Shapes crawled out of the mirror, and every guest room door creaked open on its own. Pale figures stepped out, their heads tilted, eyes hollow. The Rosewood Inn had never closed. It was still full of its last guests, trapped forever in the night they died. Daniel ran, stumbling down the stairs, but the lobby had changed. It was no longer wood and dust. It was burning. Flames licked the walls as shadowy guests screamed in silence, replaying the night the hotel was consumed decades ago. The man at the desk raised his hand, pointing at Daniel. "You belong here now." Daniel fled into the storm, his lungs burning. Somehow, the night spat him back onto the empty highway. His car, mysteriously fixed, sat waiting with the engine running. He didn't question it. He just drove. But in the rearview mirror, the hotel never disappeared. No matter how many miles he put between them, the glowing sign of Rosewood Inn followed, flickering endlessly. And to this day, when travelers pass that highway at night, sometimes they see Daniel's face in the window, staring down at them, silently begging them not to stop.